You can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. You can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. You can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. But you can be happy if you've a mind to. You can't take a shower in a parakeet cage. You can't take a shower in a parakeet cage. You can't take a shower in a parakeet cage. But you can be happy if you've a mind to. All you gotta do is put your mind to it. Knuckle down, buckle down, do it, do it, do it. Well, you can't go swimming in a baseball pool. You can't go swimming in a baseball pool. You can't go swimming in a baseball pool. But you can be happy if you've a mind to.
Nothing like warm fires, you know, being in the cabins and listening to the roar of the fire, even though it's plugged into a wall. Well, welcome back everyone to Greenlight Cinema. I'm Brandon Pacheco, your host for this review for The Simpsons. I keep saying Fargo. For The Simpsons, A Serious Flanders, Part 2. So let's dive into this episode, shall we? I took my notes like I always do because, you know, I watch these things and I just gotta... Hope you guys can hear me over this loud roaring fire. How romantic is that? So I want to start off with saying that things are changing a whole lot for Springfield, it seems like. I'm really liking how they're doing these two episodes. It's only two, by the way. This is my last Simpsons Fargo episode, unless they just want to go back and revisit and do some other things. That'd be fun. I'm all on board. Because this episode was a blink and you missed it. I mean, it was fast, but it was great. A lot of Easter eggs. I'm not going to get into as many as I did it in the last episode because I believe I covered the basics. So let's get into this episode. Well, you know, as I said, we got a little bit of turmoil. It's happened in Springfield. Chief Wiggum, we see him. He's distraught over this whole massacre in the diner, and he's just like, I'm done. Like, he's talking to Marge. She's like, well, you know, I'm kind of concerned about Homer. And he's like, I can't even eat another donut again. And then cut to the next second, he's eating another donut. But anyway, so he just like leaves. And we see Ned, you know, he's in, what am I going to do? And what did my pawpaw do? And what really happens here is we see that Ned's grandfather is as bad as corrupt, and Ned doesn't know that. Funny thing is here, and if you're a Fargo fan, you're gonna love it. We're at a hotel in the 70s. Ned's grandfather, he sees this getting a little crazy. Because everyone pops out. The Kitchen Brothers. Let me find all the references here I wrote down. The Kitchen Brothers have popped out. Hansi Dent is on one side. There's someone else on the... I feel like I'm missing... Oh, yes! My favorite! Mike Milligan was in the middle of all this, too. And all this chaos is going on. And, well, it's about to happen. And we have someone with nunchucks that's, like, explosive. They're dynamite nunchucks. And he looks like Mo, the bartender, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's too funny. It reminded me that it's so chaotic and like bizarre that it reminds me of like, and I mean, I'm not a big fan of Judd Uptown movies, but I love the Anchorman movies. I think they're a little funny. It reminded me of that scene in Anchorman, the first fight scene, where it's like, oof, I got a oofta that got out of hand quickly, I know. But they didn't say that. But that's what it feels like. It's just like bizarre weaponry, I guess you would say. And they're like, you know, it feels like a battle, like, fight to the death. And Ned's grandfather, in the middle of all this chaos that's about to unfold, says, wait, fellas, he was like, just the slightest little coincidence can trigger anything to happen. It's some like elderly character, I guess, that would be like, you know, in the scene, and he drops the ice bucket. That right there is enough to trigger a massacre at this hotel. Yes, a hotel massacre for all you Fargo fans like me. And you know, it happened very fast, and everyone got murdered except it was a funny thing. while all this chaos is going on, Ned's, but when I say bizarre weaponry, I mean bizarre weaponry, because Ned's grandfather dodges all this chaos, finds himself underneath a car, got this crazy massacre going on, and like one other guy survives, but Ned's grandfather, has this moment where he's like, oh, I'll get my life right if I could just, escape this chaos. And he gets out, everyone's dead. And he sees someone holding the Pan Am bag, and he goes, well, I can only go to hell once, I guess. And then he shoots and kills someone. I'm like, golly, I couldn't get over it. But this character, he's not very likable to begin with. So, whatever, it's fine. And then, this isn't going to be like, it's like a beloved character or whatever. But what was funny, though, is like, at the exact same time all this is going on, we see the bad guy that's been chasing Ned all this time. And he's like, I need, the money, I'm the Bucky guy. And Ned's grandfather's like, no way. He's like, I'm Sheriff Flanders. And he does this like ice fall. And it's so hilarious because he just lands on this guy's knife. Which is great. Oh, we find out what happened to his eye. It was the chaos and exploding like nunchucks, I guess, that Not Mo was holding. But also, Ned's grandfather, he did stow away the money in the tree, and like the cops are like coming and they hit the tree and knock it over in present day time, and cut to, that's where Ned found the money and all that. It just plays out really funny because, again, it's a great marriage here of both Fargo and Simpsons. I loved it because we have all these weird, dumb little coincidences that would and this thing led up to this thing that would lead up to this thing. Then now, well, there we go. It's Fargo. And I don't know, how to put it, whatever can happen will happen, I guess you would say. I don't know. It's a very funny thing, and they played that very well in that Simpsons Hotel Massacre. They'll be forever etched in my brain. Thank you for whoever's idea it was to make these episodes. So cut to, we're in present time, and Ned, he still wants to save Homer. And it's the funniest thing. He's got a plan, but not a very solid plan. And in cut two, before we see Ned even go into the orphanage, we see Homer. And he's still tied up. And the henchmen actually are a married couple, and it's their anniversary, and the wife wants to go out and do something, and the Irish guy's like, I told you, we'll never be able to get a job or make jobs if we're, going on anniversaries. And Homer, I guess, comes up with this brilliant, or to him, I guess it's brilliant, I'll distract them and I'll be able to escape. But the wife is cooking during this argument. Eventually winds up happening is they just get so distracted and fighting, and then they start having passionate romance that the house catches on fire. And while all this great, it was a funny scene because Homer's like, guys, it was just so funny here seeing the scene, the whole house is on fire, and the henchmen get killed or whatever by a bathtub that falls through. I don't know why, I just had a brief thought of Tom Hanks and The Burbs. I'm not sure if that happened. I know a lot of that house fell apart. Well, that was such a funny movie. Oh gosh. But this is a funny episode, and so cut to, we see Ned at the orphanage, and he's trying to get in that vault, and that Minnesotan lady, she catches him. She's like, hey, now you, what are you doing? And he was like, well, and he's on, trying to come up with something. We hear the sleigh bells, and then right after the sleigh bells, I don't know what you call them, the Fargo sleigh bells. he comes up with this witty plan. He's like, yeah, I've been thinking about your hot bod. I think he says something along those lines. And she's like, oh yeah. And so he tells himself, you're doing this for Homer. And when he said that, I lost it. I laughed so hard. I thought that was the greatest thing ever. That he would have to think of Homer to get through this affair. I'm like, okay, you know. But, and this would be exactly like something would happen in Fargo. So Ned does get the key. And then all of a sudden we see Homer getting dragged out of the fire. And it's like, oh, so Ned was able to do all this in time? And it's like, nope. But at the last moment, Homer is actually saved by Marge. So it was unnecessary for Ned to have sex with her. And he succeeds in, you know, being able to get the key off the Minnesotan lady's neck, which he doesn't need anymore, I guess, because Homer's safe. How he gets her out of the room. I love this part. I had to write this down. She goes, I'm going to go get a Fagel. Do you want one? And if I'm not mistaken, Lester, that's what he was drinking when in Fargo Season 1 when he meets Lauren Malvo, Billy Bob Thornton's character. But anyway, he was drinking a great Faygo, and so that's what Ned asked for, which he's wearing the whole Lester thing. He didn't wear the Lester outfit in this episode, which I wasn't a little upset. I was like, I think he's wearing more of like the Greek guy's jumpsuit thing, which is kind of funny. Ned distracts the Minnesotan lady, gets the key to the safe so he can give the money to the bad guy, and flees and gets out of there. And she's like, oh, now, you know, and gets really worked up and upset. And the best part comes up because as she said something in the last episode, I can't remember what part or what scene, that she used to do like javelin or whatever. And so she grabs the American flag like pole and like uses it like a javelin stick. And as she does it, she says, of course, the best Minnesotan thing ever, woofta! And I laughed so hard. I think more about that than anything. So cut to, we get another time jump. It's 3 years later, apparently. I'll make this short because this is the end of the episode pretty much. So they pretend to be happy for their kids and all the outside community to keep up their business and their shop in Springfield. So while they're in their little business shop, Bart, he comes to Homer and he's like, hey Dad, he's like, you know, you got a postcard here from Wyoming. And Homer's like, oh, that's weird, and throws it away. And Marge, she's like, okay, I know what he's doing. Because she sees him, like, sneak off. And it's not like what she thinks. It's so funny. He puts on, like, 100,000 disguises. Not that many, but it's like, first I can't remember everything he wears. Homer he has to wear, like, 10,000 disguises to get to his destination, which is Ned's house. Out in the snowy fields of Wyoming. And it's really great, very Fargo-esque about being in Fargo. You can always have snow and Fargo-esque stuff. I mean, it goes to show in Season 4. I'm getting veering off here, but they made it work. It was very Fargo to me. I love Season 4 of Fargo. It's one of my favorite seasons, actually. I've come to appreciate Season 3, and if anyone would ever love to see me delve into that, and finally talk about my thoughts on Fargo Season 3 all the way. I've spoke of them a little bit, but I've never actually reviewed that season. But please comment down below and let me know. Alright, let's get into this. This is the end here. When he gets to his destination, he's at Ned's house, and Ned's been hiding out in his cabin, and the thing that Homer's been having to keep a secret is he's been giving Ned necessities to just keep him and his family going. And I thought that was pretty nice of Homer to do that for Ned and his two sons, even though it's a cartoon. It's pretty interesting that these two characters, because in the last episode, you see Homer just like seething with envy, like over Ned being like getting this money, and look at him flirting with this Minnesotan girl, right? You know, I just thought that was just a very funny element. But now we have these two characters closer than ever. And Homer said, we both suck, and start hugging. And as this happens, we see a door opening, and it was so Fargo-esque because it's a cabin, and it's Marge. Marge is like, oh, Homer, she's like, don't tell me you're with a mistress or a podcaster or something. I don't know where that one came from. And she's like, Ned? Ned's like, Marge, don't be mad at this great fella. He's been helping me and my boys out. So she has a big change of heart. So she's like, this is what you've been having to keep a secret from me of? And he was like, yeah, you know, I couldn't risk Ned's life. Which does not sound, again, anything like Homer. But this is its own thing. And I like what they were able to do with it. But anyway, moving on, so we get a thin ice scene because they're running out of the cabin, and Ned, he goes, why is this so important to you? He's like down on the ground, and this man's like, you know, I've been wanting to get this debt, and he's trying to explain it to him again. And as he's talking about this parable, it's so hilarious. We get someone fast forwarding it, like, because it's on Simplex. It reminds me of that Midnight Mass show because it had monologues. Again, there's a monologue going on. A character's trying to explain a kooky thing of something, which I didn't really care because it's The Simpsons, but if this was actually Fargo, I'd be like, I want to know! The character, they fast forward whatever he said, and Ned just like, they have a struggle, and Ned knocks the small book out of the guy's hand, and the guy, of course, runs to it, and as he's running to it, we see the ice cracking, and he, like, falls, and the ice, like, it's funny, he's talking about a balance. That's I think, the irony to that, I guess, or the comedy to it, because he's, like, on the ice, and he can't get it to, like, balance out correctly. It just keeps flipping him back, and then flipping him over. But good day, this episode had it all. Everything goes back to being balanced, and it ends. And it was very, you know, satisfying and Fargo-esque. I mean, it's everything you'd want in a little Fargo-type series. It was great. And it's on Hulu, streaming right now. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, bye.